Who's Tim P?
That needs to be removed.
He's not on
I
there.
think we'll remove Tim P.
Okay, let's take Tim P off of there. Jack S, Alyssa, Jeff, and Mike O. We need to have any additions or correction will be take Tim off of there.
Remove Tim.
I would like to be added to the Menards account.
Okay, and add John Olson to that.
Were there firefighters added last year? Or,
Yeah, I think this isn't current.
yeah,
Okay,
Sorry.
there should be.
This is.
we're gonna hold off on this Menard purchasers until we find out who else is on that. We'll skip that. Can we bring that back next meeting, please?
Will do.
Thank you. Quick Trip card users, the chief, Daryl Bauman's on there. Anybody else need to be on there that we know of? I'll make a motion to leave Daryl Bauman as the only Quick Trip card user.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I thought Jeff and Jack were both on that too. I thought
Oh,
Jack's,
so that is just,
Please. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries. Data Practice Responsible Authority is Pam Olson. You see a need to change that?
No.
Make a motion, we leave Pam Olson as the Data Practice Responsibility Authority. Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. At this time, Data Practice Compliance Official is Kennedy and Graven. Do you see a change, any changes needed in that?
make a motion that we keep it the same.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries. Township Services. Right now, we're using Gratitude Farms, Tammy Gimple. I see she also has a contract in here that needs to be signed. So that goes with that. Any motion to,
Just want to do all these, because I don't think many of these are changing.
let's run them all. Attorneys Kennedy and Graven, auditors Smith, Schaefer and Associates, building official is Rum River Associates or Consultants. Planning and zoning administrators, the MSA, engineers Hawkinson, Anderson Engineering. Health Authority is Dr. Is that Vilja?
Aye.
Belai? Okay, thank you very much. Road foreman is Craig Rylander and weed inspector Jack Swarsky. Your motion to approve all these as they stand?
Make a motion to approve township services for 24, the same as 23.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, here we go. Here's the big list. Everybody look on the list. Does anybody see anything on here that they do not want anymore or want to get rid of? Or hello, Carol.
I would like to get rid of the police and I think you want it.
I'll take police. If you don't want, I'll take police. I have no problem with that.
But otherwise, I'd like to keep everything I have.
Okay. John?
you know, me, I would, I'm game for just about anything. I think the one that is probably nearest and dearest to me is the road and bridge stuff, just because of my educational background.
Okay, Bob?
I would like to keep, we just started something with HR and usually the chair follows HR. Is there an issue with me keeping HR? Anybody on this board say?
Shouldn't be.
And I guess we just had a meeting with HR about an hour ago and technically I was not HR, but we just kind of started this, but
Doesn't have to be the chairperson.
okay.
Shouldn't be chairperson.
So then I'd like to keep HR.
Okay. Andy?
Is that the only thing you want, Bob?
Yeah. No, that's the only thing I just wanted to make sure of.
Or just give, are you happy with
Everything
everything
else
else
is
you have?
fine.
Yeah, I'm open to anything. I just see spreading the responsibilities around and maybe having backups to each as we move forward, trying to get just multiple responsibilities of one or two, two is the max, but then you have a backup for everything, and moving forward, we can kind of discuss and move some things forward too. would be my preference.
Yeah, if I can add on to that, last year going through this was my first time, and I guess I didn't understand what each committee requirements were. So I actually I went through the 20 different committee assignments, and there's some committees that there's compensation for. And there's other committees that are kind of like as needed. IT isn't like a monthly meeting or anything like that. And it kind of works out fairly even if we were to look at just first the 10 meetings a month that are available. And if we could split those up evenly, then everybody has kind of the same compensation level or close to it. And then maybe break out the remainder, which are kind of the no compensation, not very much, kind of as needed. Just as a suggestion for thought.
I'd be game to that.
If anybody's interested, I made copies if anybody's interested in seeing how I kind of separated them out. And again, it's up to the board's desire as to what, how you'd like to proceed, but I just thought it might be I ended up taking on some stuff that kind of bogged me down a little bit last year, and I took too many of the active things and not as many of the inactive things.
Well, all you have to do is say what you don't want. I mean, if you don't want to if you want to give recycling up, since you don't want to give road and bridge.
Mhm.
I don't see giving. Well, I said I want to keep what I have.
Okay.
I guess you'll have to decide if that's okay or not.
Well, we can go through it. I mean, I'm game for anything.
But then, like you said, what do the roles entail with them?
If you look at right now, building maintenance, that's dealing with the building cemetery committee, they meet when they meet enforcements,
That isn't even
that's on call. I mean, that's when something happens. Family fun days, an actual meeting, fire departments are meetings. HR is on call when needed, IT is when needed, media is, well, she deals with that a lot. Office staff is when they need to be dealt. Parks, they meet, planning and zoning meets. Police is gonna be busy this year, I think. Public Works maintenance.
But
Rec-
Family Fun Day is, that's a committee that you don't get paid several months in a row. But then when they have the committee meetings, you get paid more often than
You get caught up.
you
basically.
get caught up. So it's,
Kind of a
that's,
wash.
that's a wash with, you have that on your sheet?
Yeah, I mean, so the top portion has a list of the 9 committees where there's compensation. Those are fire department, planning and zoning, parks, rec, road and bridge, sunrise watershed, school forest committee, family fun days, recycling, and then the media website stuff. And then the ones that are not compensated for, just kind of as is or as needed. We have office, building maintenance, senior center and transportation, security, safety, IT, human resources, enforcements, cemetery, and police. And last year, I know we had talked about and didn't decide on insurance. I think we decided that didn't need to be its own committee. And then Public Works got added after our January meeting of last year. And I think Public Works should always have been probably part of Road and Bridge based on what I've heard from others.
But the problem I run into with Public Works, especially in the wintertime, is Road and Bridge is trying to talk to these guys about what roads and stuff they need to go out and maintain, what's going on with that. But then again, you have 2 different supervisors telling them to do what they're supposed to be doing. I myself personally would rather see we get down so one person is telling them to do the whole thing. So they're not taking direction from 2 different people or getting direction, to do what they're supposed to be doing. So.
And that's what I see and I almost think that this is putting the cart in front of the horse for Thursday's meeting. You start talking about what is a meeting, what isn't a meeting. We're gonna have roles and responsibilities to discuss there. I don't feel locking in for 24 is going to be conducive to that meeting then and going one way or to me, make a short motion to keep it the same for January and we have the further discussion on Thursday and understand, like you're saying, what's a keep kill combined. You have a lot that merges over and we have that discussion and figure out and then come back and you'd be able to probably filter down what you're saying, what you're saying, what you're saying and see which ones are a wash or what. But that way there you could keep it at least for January, so we're not messing up the couple meetings like that are still in play. And then we're continuing business as usual, but really having that discussion that Thursday should bring to light.
Just 2 days away.
Yeah,
We can bring this back to our Tuesday meeting or Thursday meeting after we get done with what we're doing and we can try to direct this at that
No,
time.
that's
Here,
a-
Can we do that?
that's an agenda already set, the process. But we could table it, or we could, correct Pam, we could table this. Or approve, we could approve it and change it 6 times a year if we want, but at least this way here, we have more information is what I would be in
What do
favor of.
people want that they're not getting? What do you want, Andy?
Well, if you're this way, this is what I'm planning, this, what I haven't had my speak on this. I want to keep fire, I'll keep security, I will keep the senior center and I'll take police. Fire department is 2 meetings a month. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 hours for one of the meetings all by themselves. But I will keep those, I will take police and add that on. Like I said, police, I think this year, if we start talking about combining services and stuff with other town or other cities, I think we're gonna be kind of busy this year with that, but I'll go ahead and take that, so.
And I don't think it's about what want or not. It's also about understanding where the compensation comes into play and what that and how that affects the budget and where we get to with.
Well,
With
you were
what
gonna make a
constitutes-
safety committee. Have you made a safety committee that meets on a regular basis?
We have got stuff. I've got that it was going to be at the last meeting, but that was supposed to be a short one. And then this was this one. So I can certainly have a conversation with you on where we're at, but that's coming before the board. And that's going to be the discussion of there too. What I was going to bring to on Thursday is what does the safety meeting entail? What does it mean to the township as a whole? So, and I think that plays into all the other ones too. So, if we're charging, an extra meeting for a meeting that isn't a meeting, I don't feel comfortable setting this in play.
I do.
And
My
you're in,
opinion.
and you're,
an opinion.
and everyone here there's 5 of them entitled to it.
Right.
So
We can argue about it. I can get into a match with it. If we want to keep it the way it is and make the changes that we've made, I'm good with that. If somebody wants to make a motion to keep that the way it is, I'll entertain a motion,
I'll make a motion to keep it the way it is.
changes.
Yeah, with the,
Okay, I got a motion, keep it the way it is with the change. Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, discussion.
This group has brought it up a little bit about Public Works and Road and Bridge being the same person. Is that where this group wants to go?
in terms of,
Well, it was brought.
Oh,
up a
yes.
couple times
Oh.
That why have.
so
two
what
people
is
tell them what to
meeting?
do.
Yeah, what is a meeting and what is a department? Yes, I wholeheartedly think we need to have that discussion. And that's where I think you have that on Thursday, what constitutes a meeting for something, because that's what this plays into. You approve this. How do you come about and change it, for everything here is $100 a meeting. That's a lot of money without having the rules in play. So I'm not in favor of moving forward with anything tonight until we can get the rules and regs in place.
isn't it, am I missing something here? Bob, you're in charge of maintenance. You don't get $100 every time you talk to the guys. do
Never
you?
have. For the 12 months I've had it, I haven't got 1 cent. And I think
So
that
the
was
only-
just brought up because if Supervisor Olson is in charge of road and bridge, there's a conflict of interest if Supervisor Olson's in charge of maintenance. And if that, actually, that wasn't why it's separated, there was another reason. But I think that'd become an issue if Supervisor Olson was in charge of road and bridge and public works. Because then there's a conflict of interest.
So I just want to make sure that from a legal standpoint, we understand what this conflict of interest is, because I've talked to two attorneys and I haven't been able to validate that there's a conflict of interest. Because there's no money, the conflict of interest, you have to really look at what the definition of the conflict of interest is. And the person that you're referring to in public works would have to live on my premises and derive financial benefit or support from me. And that's not the case. So I just want to make sure we're in a public meeting that we're very clear whether there's an actual conflict of interest or not.
Pam? You happen to ask the attorney about that? Has that ever came up in any discussions?
Supervisor Olson is right that there is not the monetary connection there. I just know from township history that a family member could never supervise another one. I mean, that happened in the office and I couldn't supervise someone in the office. So, no, from a legal standpoint, there is not a legal conflict of interest. There would be a perceived conflict of interest, but again, that would be up to the board. It would not be anything illegal.
And that plays into me saying there's a backup for stuff too, because then you'd have two people in play with some of these committees that have that place. And whether it's conflict of interest on file, nepotism stuff on file, all those things through HR, and having an attorney present for some of these discussions helps us up front as opposed to coming back after. I'm just not in favor of doing what I keep hearing in my 6 months here was what we've always done. And I'd like to have that discussion on Thursday and see what this shakes out and then move forward.
So the motion that's on the table, just to be clear, because the motion was to move forward as we've had the assignments in the past. And there was something about changes, but we didn't define what are the
The
changes?
changes that we already have made, like.
That we made, she
Mike
gave up
Parker.
police and I took police.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That is what the change would be.
All right. I get it now. Thank you.
And we can change this at any time, is that correct?
Yeah.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed,
Nay.
motion carries 4-1. After Thursday's meeting, we can bring this back. Fire Department, Chief Bauman.
Thank you, Chairman Parker, board and staff. For the month of December, we had a total of 29 calls, 24 being medical, 4 being fire, and 1 being other. So to date, we've had 300 plus calls. We're currently auditing the runs. We have some discrepancies with the new first due and the way we are calculating. So I will get you a more concrete number probably at the next town board meeting. So just to put some insight on some of the accidents or some of the calls that we had 1 personal injury. We had 4 cardiac arrest calls, 1 suicide, 1 structure fire, and 1 deer save on the ice. That constitutes the other. So our people have been very busy and some pretty traumatic calls in the month of December. So kudos to all our firemen. Just looking for town board approval tonight. Got an array of bullet points. So I'll start the first one. The parade season will be amongst us before we know it for 2024. So we're looking for the use of engine 1 or an apparatus for the Forest Lake Parade East Bethel Parade, Isanti, Stacy, and Linwood Family Fun Days.
I make a motion, we approve the fire department use of engine one for Forest Lake, East Bethel, Sandy, Stacy, and Linwood Family Fun Days.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Board. Also looking for the use of the fire station for the Anoka County Fire Training Academy. They use our station on occasion, so we're looking for approval for the station as well as an apparatus while they train at the fire station.
Make a motion, we allow them to use the station for No County Fire Training Association.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Board. These are the ones I don't like to bring up, but I've got to do it anyway. So after 15 years of distinguished service, Sean McLean has decided to retire from the Linwood Fire Department effective January 1st.
Why don't you give us both of them, Daryl?
And after 26 years of distinguished service, Scott Smith has decided to retire from the LFD effective January 1st. And again, those are two phenomenal firefighters, a lot of knowledge that, but they're turning that page in life. So looking for them for approval for their retirement.
The motion, we approve the retirement of Sean McLean and Scott Smith effective January 1st, 2024.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Board. Last but not least, looking for approval to send one firefighter to the Arrowhead EMS Conference in Duluth, not to exceed $600. And that time frame is from January 19th and January 20th.
Make a motion to allow the fire department to send one firefighter to the Arrowhead EMS conference in Duluth, not to exceed $600.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Board. Just some updates. The general use grant application again was submitted for $10,000. This grant is in hopes to offset the well. We should hear something within the next couple of weeks. And again, thanks to Mary Brooks for all the hard work on getting this grant out. If we hear something, we'll definitely know as soon as possible. Super Bowl, way ahead of myself. Supervisor Olson and myself met with Jennifer Perkins and Harlan Bellant from the Oxford Township on fire coverage. It was a good discussion. Some of the takeaways is basically just cost share. And then we kind of put it back in their court on what they're looking for in the fire coverage. So, and we went over some demographics and things that that we discussed in the past. And it sounds like there may be getting some traction, but we'll wait to hear back from them, hopefully in the next couple months. Any questions on that? None. The rooftop unit, we're having some issues. Crane Mechanical is trying to resolve the issue. I was there tonight. It looks like we do have heat back in the training room, kitchen, and in the back rooms. The Assistance to Firefighter Grant Program will open up January 24th. The truck committee does have 3 vendors and they did get 3 quotes. We're in the process of finalizing those quotes and then seeking out a grant writer. Again, that grant closes February 2nd, so we're gonna have to be pretty aggressive on this. Just some fire department comments. Again, the new Rescue 5 is serving the LFD and community well. Thank you again for the support of purchasing this vehicle. It's been a phenomenal vehicle. It's a lot safer. And it's definitely noticeable throughout the community. We are currently finalizing the 2025 budget. We're about 80% there. And once we get that proposal, we will submit it to Alyssa for the board approval. The last thing I did get a letter from Alyssa stating that I got a raise of to 2053. I will not be at the meeting on Thursday due to a prior commitment. So tonight I would like to respectfully decline that raise. But that's all I have. Any questions?
Anything else for the chief? Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, road and bridge.
So we had a short meeting last week. There's one item that'll be coming up later in the agenda, so I won't get into the signage yet, but the one thing that I think we're prepared to move forward on right now is getting our gravel bids out. And so I didn't resubmit. It's the same thing as that we had talked about this last fall. If you remember, there was a packet with pictures of the roads and stuff. The only thing that's being added back in will be 240th, 241st. It's that area in Fawn Lake that they wanted to have a blacktop study done. And given the information we got back from Craig, I'm kind of thinking that we probably want to go with gravel on that road for right now. Anyway, so what I'm gonna seek from the board is approval to I'll provide the information to the clerk so that she can go out for bids and we can get ahead of this one and hopefully we get some good pricing this year. So that's what that item is. So I'll make a motion that that we direct staff to move forward with our gravel bid for 2024.
Got a motion to allow the clerk to go for bids for the gravel bid. Is there a second?
Second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Are you going for the same amount of gravel as you got last year, or what'd you guys come up with?
It'll be a little bit more, but the pricing might be down. So obviously, once the bids come in, then we'll come back to the board with the numbers and look for approval on the amount at that point.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. Oh, Pam?
I was just curious. I don't recall from last year. Did the board want to do, is it the hauling? It's the materials, the hauling, packing and grading?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'll resend all that stuff to you, Pam.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving right up to Sunrise River Watershed. Looks like they
Well,
want.
that's, yeah, that's, there's three parts to this. Did you want to speak on any of it, Pam, or? Okay, I think they had sent you this information.
So we got the information. The Sunrise Water is asking to have the board ratify their 2025 budget. They're looking at, they actually used some of their, they used $3,500 to spend down some of their undesignated reserve funds. So it puts our cost for 2025 just $3 higher than what it is for 2024. So their draft budget for 25 is $47,189.
That's their budget, not ours, right?
That's their budget. The Linwood portion is $18,194.19.
Make a motion. Do we need to approve their budget? Or do you
Yes.
make a motion? We approve the budget, the 47,189, the 2025 draft budget
I'll second it.
has been moved and seconded. Now discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next.
1 second here. And then the next item is the Sunrise bylaws. They've not had bylaws in the past, but because when they redid the joint powers agreement, they kind of felt like some of those things didn't belong in the joint powers agreement because it was more operational and how they operate as a board. And so they're requesting that the member communities review and provide any comments on the bylaws. I will send them out because I think this might have come in after I sent Friday's packet.
I did.
So I will send them out, and if you have any comments, you can either reply to Jamie or to me. I would like permission to take the time to go through them because some of it they took right directly out of the old joint powers agreement and just to see how those changes are. And again, if you guys want to do the review too, but I would like to kind of take a look at it and just see what they came up with.
Fine, I'll make a motion, allow the clerk to look over the bylaws, see if she finds anything in the ordinary, so we should be concerned with.
Bring it back to the 23rd
You
meeting.
can bring it back to the, 20, yeah, that's the next meeting. And bring it back to the 23rd meeting.
Yeah, I'll second for discussion.
Then moved and seconded discussion.
Yeah, so I agree with the clerk. We should all review this and, if there's comments, give it back to the clerk so that she can summarize it all together. And then we'll do that approval on the 23rd. And, right now, everybody that's on the Sunrise Watershed Board has reviewed this and is satisfied with it, but they wanted to give every community an opportunity to make sure that they had final input in before it's approved.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Lower St. Croix Watershed Partnership.
This one just came in today in an email. What this is, let me get to my notes here. If I can find it. This is going to be off the cuff, I guess.
Well, it says here our representatives are Janet Hagelin and Ron Morse.
Okay, so there is a bucket of money. I'm sorry, I got no details for you, but and it's traditionally been done. We combine with some of the other communities, like with some of the Chisago County watersheds and water conservation districts and kind of pool the money together. And so that makes up this lower St. Croix Watershed Partnership, and they need some representatives. And I know they had asked a few people from Linwood, and it's important that the Sunrise Watershed has representation there. So Janet Hagelin she's a city council member from Columbus and is very active on the Sunrise Watershed. She has volunteered to do it. And then Ron Morse, who is from the city of Afton, has also agreed. So they would be representing our part of the lower. They get together, I think, just 3 times a year and kind of discuss the projects that they work on, that they will be spending the money on. Jamie's just asking for just an email of support if the board agrees to appointing these 2 representatives. If you disagree, then they would also like an email back saying that the board disagrees on those folks.
I guess I don't know either one of these 2 people, so I can't say good or bad about them.
Yeah, so we've been discussing this, just a little added information. We've been discussing this back and forth for the last couple months. And Janet has been to these meetings before, so she's aware of what's coming. And this Ron is a pretty eloquent speaker. Now, the odds of us getting any of that money is slim because they're going against the cities and stuff around the Twin Cities for that money. But I think they're really good. They're going to be our best opportunity for representatives. So I would make a motion that Linwood supports Janet Heglin and Ron Morris to be the representatives for our area.
Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, all business, Brian's insulation invoice.
All right, so we had hired contractors and they had them kind of lined up back to back to perform work on the reuse building. And we kind of got a little bit disjointed in December. The building contractor for Walters, their subcontractor, had come in and they were supposed to do a little work above the headers of the doors so that the doors could be implemented. And a little bit more work. And I think they were kind of eager to get this job done. So they actually constructed the top 3 foot, the top 3 foot of each room. It's an 11-foot wall. The top 3 foot is metal. And they went ahead and put all the metal up before the insulators showed up. So when the insulators showed up to insulate, they had to try to hand feed all that insulation, that 3 feet up behind all of that wall, which caused a couple problems. One is obviously it took a lot longer to hand feed all that stuff up rather than just tucking the bats in. And they had a heck of a time with insulation or with the poly because there's metal already affixed to the wood. So how do you put poly over wood when the wall's in the way? So there were some issues with it. So it took longer for them to complete. And because of that, their invoice came in a few $100s more than what their original quote was that we approved. So what I'm looking for is approval from the board to pay the new invoice amount, which is about $240 some more. And so I would make a motion that that we move forward with compensating or paying the invoice to Brian's Insulation for $4,678.00.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, scheduled budget meetings. Let the fun begin. What day works good for everybody? What days? Sorry, I apologize.
Can I suggest that we do them in February? January in the office is jammed. And for office staff to be ready with all the budget reports and everything else, if we could maybe look at, they'd all have to be in February, but we should be able to have all the committees' budgets back by that time. That gives a little more time between the parks meeting and the last parks meeting in January and gives us time to be ready for it. So
Let's look at February. Second week of February, except for the 7th, I got a fire department meeting on the 7th. 5th, 6th, 8th, 9th, anybody? Does that sound good to anybody, everybody here? Anybody got a particular date they want to go with?
So I think your calendar's got the conflicts.
Oh.
So the 5th got a conflict.
Okay. So we got the 7th, so we got the 8th and 9th. Who wants to meet on a Friday night, but so that leaves the 8th, it's a Thursday. Everybody clear on, everybody open on the 8th?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good with the 8th.
We just do the Thursdays in February.
No, Thursday, the 15th, I got another meeting I'm in conflict with. So if we have the 8th, will be a budget meeting. Calendar back up here.
What typically has been the time frame for them? If you're, is it
3 meetings.
3 meetings at how long?
Depends on which
I-
budget we're working.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering, if we knew what they were, if it could be strategic in nature that this meeting was,
2 hours.
yeah,
The other thing is you've talked about wanting more detail and more information, which will make the meetings a lot longer.
Well, why don't we, since we can't do the Wednesday, because I got the seventh one, can we do the eighth, the 14th and the 21st? That'd be that Thursday and then the 2 Wednesdays following. Is that work for everybody?
The 14th,
Celebrate Valentine's.
yeah, no, I can't do Wednesdays.
Okay, well, how about 8? Mm, Well, we can do can we do the 8th, the 21st and 22nd?
Yeah, I can't do Wednesdays.
You can't do it. How about the 8th, 22nd and 29th? Or does that put us too close?
How about the 12th?
That's a-
We got,
The Monday.
okay, can we do the 8th, the 12th and the 22nd? Does that work in everybody's budget or everybody's schedule?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, that works for everybody? 6 o'clock?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, we'll set our budget meetings for Thursday, the 8th, Monday, the 12th. And what was it, the 22nd? Thursday, the 22nd at 6 o'clock for budget meetings. Well, 2. Okay. Has to be done by a vote, or can we just pick those days?
You can just pick them.
Okay, we just pick those days. Okay, that's for the budget meetings. Okay, so prior to March 5th, we need to schedule a board of audit.
That Board of Audit, if it is held outside of a regularly scheduled meeting, I need to post and best practices published for. Otherwise, for
Can we
quite a
do
few
that on-
years, we've done it right within a
Can we
town
do it
board
on the
meeting.
27th,
Yes.
5 o'clock on the 27th?
Or you can do it within the town board.
Can we do it within the
meeting.
town board
You
meeting?
can- If
Okay.
I put it on the agenda,
Okay, can we do it then? Can we schedule that for the 27th, February 27th?
February 27th.
February 27th?
February 27th, what did I say?
February.
Yes.
Yeah, February 27th. Next on the agenda is to schedule a local board of appeals meeting. It has to be between 4:01 and 5:31. And we can schedule that before a town board meeting, correct?
We did that once and it ran very, very long.
Did it? Oh, that's right.
Last
That
one
last
we
time, yeah,
did-
last time was
We
one of
did a
those deals.
separate meeting.
Okay, April. Well, I'm gonna be gone in April. Just to let y'all know.
And we have, John, you are certified for Board of Appeal?
Bob.
And Bob? Okay, so just so we have that and we need a quorum here as well.
Can we do that on May 15th? I'm on between the dates that they have down here.
I'm not available.
Andy gonna tell you he can't do it
Oh,
again?
you can't do it. Okay, how about,
Is one of you back?
I get back the 8th of May. We can do it the 9th of May if it works for everybody.
If you can pick 2 dates,
Okay,
because if we don't get our first choice, then the county will go with the second choice, so.
9th or the 13th? We do it the Monday?
9th or the 13th. I'm good for either one of those 2 dates. Is everybody else good with those 2 dates?
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna schedule the Board of Appeals either May 9th or May 13th. The clerk will let us know which days work. And we can put it on the schedule. Okay, recycling 2024 fee schedule.
And those two were at 6 o'clock then?
6 o'clock.
And the one before the meeting on the 27th, what time is that?
Within,
It's gonna be within, so we'll
That's
start
in
with
the
that
meeting. Yeah,
one.
That'll be
Okay.
in the meeting.
Great, thank you.
Okay,
Right, all this is that, this was updated for 2024. This is the recycling guide. And so, so I think, Paul and Natalie, with input from others, got this updated. I thought it looked really, really well. There are a few, minor pricing changes on here. And, but what the point was here was to get it before the board and get approval on this since, a few of the prices did change. That's what it's on the agenda for. So I would make a motion that the board approves the 2024 recycling guide as printed.
second.
been moved and seconded to approve the 2024 recycling schedule fee. Is there any seconds, or excuse me, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. On-call plow driver job description and hiring.
Want me to do this one, Pam, or you?
Well, I just want to say that the job description you have is what I put together to be able to go out for hiring or for advertising for it. This has not been approved by the board.
All right, thanks. So the position of a backup plow driver has been out there for, I think, a few months, quite a few months. We did get a few interested people. I kind of did, instead of a phone interview with the first one that came in, I had him stop by since he was local. Jack and I talked to him. He's the person that I brought up last week or that last meeting and said I was going to bring back. He's got time in dump trucks, but he has no plow experience at all. And so I think he's very competent, but the township would incur cost and expense in doing some OJT with him on plowing. And that's why I wasn't sure if the board felt that that was appropriate. An appropriate investment, especially since the job description says that they must have experience in snow plowing and or using a wing blade. We do have another person that submitted an application, and I have not talked to this person yet. I was going to try to call him today and I ran out of time. I will call him. He's a little more promising. They both have class A licenses, but the second person actually has time in a plow truck. So he's one that I think we should be very interested in. So I'm gonna talk to this person and see about seeing if he's still interested in the position or not. And then I do have one other person that I need to call, but I need to find out if that person is interested in being a backup driver or if he's interested in giving us some kind of tips and a little bit of training. He's got quite a bit of time in a plow truck. So I think this one I'm going to end up bringing back again after I talk to the second guy. Since we don't have hardly a flake of snow on the ground, I'm not sure that for this year, I'm not sure how urgent we need to make a backup plow driver at this point. But what I'll do is I'll talk to this other gentleman. And I guess I want to pose that as a question to the board as a whole is, do we want to get somebody in here now so that they've got time behind the wheel and with our guys prior to bringing them back next year? There's always the risk that we lose them. But I think it'd be worth a little bit of time of having somebody, I mean, what is this, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to do the background check?
About 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So I mean, it's gonna, if we start the process, if one of these guys are interested and we make the offer in 2 weeks, you know, it's still gonna be a month before they come through. So they'll be right at the tail end of our plow season.
So, yeah, we've been advertising. What is the number we're looking for plow drivers?
Look for one more.
backup,
Just one backup.
because we already have two that are considered part-time, and then these would be an on-call position.
Yeah, the idea was that we would have a couple backup drivers, but the the drivers, they may not even be in the big truck. I mean, it's if, we've got Mike that does the 1 ton at this point, but if he's unavailable, that person would be called in, or one of the first person on the list would be called in to get on the 1 ton. It wouldn't necessarily always be in the dump truck. But we definitely need to have at least one more. Right now, we've got Joey, as our first backup guy. And then we need at least that one other one to give us two.
But Joe will be gone all of the month of February.
Yeah, I think late January and through February. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll make contact with this other guy. If you guys are interested, I think we probably want to get him through the process. It's either that or we got to do it next fall. We've already started this, so I'd like to complete it.
Well, I think I'm gonna do two things here. Number one, starting off with, number one, I think we need to approve this position description. Is that what we're actually using? Because we haven't even approved to use this. So if this is what you want to go with, I'll entertain a motion to approve this as the position description for the on-call plow driver, or for the on-call position for plow driver.
Yeah, very good. I'll make the motion that we approve this job description for the on-call plow driver.
Second for discussion.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Go ahead, Andy.
So just on the actual job doc then, because that lays out covering for both trucks, and then if you take someone that can't do the other truck, how, knowing what we want or what we need, do you almost have to, not to make more, but do you have for the two different trucks because we don't have any backups for the plow trucks themselves?
Yeah, in the job description here, it's the class B. And maybe we need to expand that to make sure it says CDL, but I think a class B is a CDL.
Yeah, it's almost, and maybe I'm just misreading it wrong then, because if that second bullet is the or, because you could have this or this.
I see what you're saying.
I'm just making sure that we get the person or don't lose people in what two lanes of trucks you're looking to fill.
Actually, I mean, if they're driving the big plow truck, they should make more than if they're driving the 1 ton. Is that what you're trying to say?
That and just the description itself.
Does our plow trucks, are they required to have air brake endorsement?
Yes.
So that should be in here also, that even though the class B, they should also have included on that with air brake endorsement, should be on there too. Because that's one of the requirements that should be added to that. Just trying to cover our bases. So I can see the first one, they could drive the 1 ton. They have to have the class B with air brake endorsement to drive the big trucks.
So we could probably get rid of the 6th bullet then. I mean, because that says must possess a valid Minnesota driver's license. Which to me, the second part where it says have a class B driver's license would indicate that it's got to be valid. Maintain a good driving record. It says it in both bullets. And experience in snow plowing is in both bullets. So I think if we remove bullet 6 or replace that with must have air brake endorsement or preferred, that should be preferred. Trying to make it to where this thing is can be used for either, because if all we're looking for is somebody to drive the regular pickup truck, it would be nice to have the same job description for it. So I'd say replace the 6th bullet with the air brake endorsement.
Well, that'll be under the
The air
class
brake
B.
endorsement has to come with your class
When
B.
you don't have to have air brake to drive the 1 ton, but you do have to have it if you got a class B and you're driving the big plow trucks. you do have to have air brake endorsement. So that's where that would have to, have a Class B license with air brake endorsement, with a good driving record and experience operating plow with wing blade. So I'd just add that behind the after license, and I just put in there with air brake endorsement.
Do we have any, options to copy from Matt or the league or anything with what they have, or was this,
This
I
is from
mean-
our full-time employees.
okay?
This is what's required
So-
of them.
They created the document or, oh, we
I
just,
created it.
okay,
The understanding was you were looking for drivers for both the 1-ton and the plow trucks, the big plow trucks. So that's what this is designed for. It says drivers are needed for plow trucks with wing blades as well as trucks with only front blades. So if you want to separate this into 2 different job descriptions,
Well, actually, I think it could
Do
work,
that,
I think it could work with one with that addition for the Class B. It just, that the pay would be commensurate with what they're driving. They're driving the 1-ton around versus driving the big truck around, they're gonna be different in wages. But that'd come up with, when the pay scale comes up and what we decide we're gonna pay these people.
which could be, so I'm looking at Oak Groves right now, and they have that kind of listed to where they have desired qualifications. They have, must possess a valid Minnesota commercial Class B driver's license with air brake endorsement. And then our standard stuff, and then, yeah, kind of go for that depending on qualifications kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Understanding that what you might get, you might get people asking for responding to the application. And then from there going with the other stuff. But if you're asking for that as a minimum, then you're already just only taking in the big plow trucks.
Unless we leave it as it, so they have to have a Minnesota driver's license or a Class B. That's gonna be the difference in the two of them who you're hiring. If they don't have Class B, they're not gonna be able to drive the big truck. They have to drive the one, they have to be applying for the 1-ton. So would you amend your motion to include that, correct, that addition to the,
With the air brakes, yes. I'll accept that friendly amendment.
you second that?
I will second that amendment.
Okay, any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And so you say you have a couple more people you want to talk to?
Yeah, and then I'll bring it back next meeting.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. Street sign replacements.
All right, so this is in your packet. Road and Bridge, they did their review in the early summer. They drove all the roads, they broke it up into their districts. Based on that report, and just kind of going out and verifying that the situation still exists. We've identified that there's 51 street signs that need to be replaced and 7 directional or informational signs. Based on the bid that Alyssa had gotten, street signs are at $23.50 each. The directional signs are at $33.35 each. So calculating that out, it should run us about $1,433. So it's going to be in that vicinity anyway. And last year we had a $5,000 sign budget, and we didn't use very much of it. We did use some, but not very much of it. This year on 24, we also have another 5,000. So this is not even gonna put up much of a dent in this budget for 24. So, but that's covered in our 24 budget. So what I would do is I would seek approval from the board. So I'd make a motion that we spend up to $1,500 in these signs.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. On here, I see 239th. Is that just struck? Is that what that is? I see a line through it, a strikeout through it. So that one's not in there. Is that correct?
That one was probably repaired since it was looked at. Maintenance had taken a look at it for me and said that there wasn't an issue, so I put a strike through on it.
Very good. Any other questions, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries. Pressure washer quotes.
So this was brought up earlier this year that our trucks are not being taken care of the way our trucks should be taken care of. They're rusting from the ground up and we need to start taking care of them. So I had maintenance start chasing some bids for pressure washers to start cleaning these trucks way more than I don't think they've really ever had any qualified tools back there to clean these trucks. And this is what Jack came up with.
Is there a preference to one from the other from them?
I don't know. He never said anything to me. I don't know if he said anything to John.
it sounded like just the availability through Northern Tool and cost was just a little bit cheaper than the others. You know, the timing probably doesn't work because we're putting salt in these trucks already. So to be able to wash them out and keep the equipment clean is probably, I don't know if I'd say it's urgent, but we need to get on it. There's auctions. I follow business auctions, and last couple auctions I pulled up here, and they had the second unit in the list of three that I think it retailed for about $4,800. They had four of them at the last auction, brand new, that sold for $1,500 each. So the question is a couple things. One is, in an auction, you don't get a warranty. Even though these are brand new, you don't get a warranty. You know, and obviously we'd have to wait for another auction to come up in order to be able to do that. So I think the thought is to get them sooner than later so they can start doing proper maintenance.
Okay, so from what I'm seeing, maybe I'm wrong with this. One of them is oil fired, one of them is diesel fuel fired. And what's the first one? Cause I don't see it in here yet. I'm still trying to find it.
You talking the one from Northern Tool?
Well, I see the Easy Clean says it's electric oil fired. The last one, if I can get down here far enough, that's telling me that is where to go. That was diesel fired, I think. That's diesel fired. That one's a 2,000 PSI. I don't know how much pressure they need out there, but second one is 3,000 PSI. And the one at the top of the list up here is dooley doo, 2750. There's one in the middle. What's your pleasure?
Did Public Works have a recommendation?
No. I didn't hear it. Maybe John did.
I didn't.
If I'm not mistaken, this first one is electric.
That's okay. That one's electric. In case that's electric fired.
That was just my second question. Then if you have the fuel ones, do they have provisions for ventilation and everything else in there?
Doors open. Make a motion, we go with the first one, the North Star, at the amount of $3,999.99. Like I said, do they have provision there for exhaust and stuff? I don't think they do. That thing was a fire station. I remember me an exhaust fan in there. So.
I'll second for discussion.
Moved and seconded discussion.
As far as, you know, the budget, you know, with these purchases, and again, I'd just like to see with things that come forward that we have that laid out so we know where, again, makes sense, wash the trucks. But if, was this, I wasn't here before, was it a planned 24 expense? If not, what's the budget effect is all, so.
It was definitely not a 24 expense. That's it for sure.
What do they have in their budget for their tools and things like that?
Small tools, it's like 200.
My next question would be, could it be, as we look at stuff and we present that stuff together, is that where stuff can be collaborated with departments as recycling looks at being able to wash the bin bag, the oil bin and stuff? I've heard them say that. So how can we spread cost across if we can just wheel this back there and do that? Start looking at spreading our dollars.
It should be.
So would this be considered a small tool?
This would be a capital purchase at that price, wouldn't it?
And then they don't have it in the capital outlay for other equipment either, so they don't have it budgeted.
We don't have it budgeted, but I just heard John say we're not taking care of our trucks, which is a big deal, I guess. If we're not taking care of them, they're not gonna last very long. So we need to figure out how we could pay for this. If it's that important.
Without it, it just increases, continues to increase ongoing maintenance costs. That's pay me now or pay me later.
Save us money.
Mm-hmm.
So where can we take this money from, treasurer?
I don't think it would qualify as capital. So it would have to come out of their operating budget and other line items would have to offset it, I guess I would say.
Since
What's the capital qualifications?
Over 5,000. And I think there's a life expectancy on some other stuff too and wear and tear, so.
So as Andy said, it would probably be used by recycle. It'd be used by maintenance. Who else would use it? I think those are only two departments that are probably using that.
I will say if the weather stays the same, they might have quite a bit remaining in their salt budget that would carry it.
That's next.
Yeah,
That's next.
right.
Did the maintenance people ask for this?
Yeah, they did.
It was kind of brought up in your plow meeting, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we were talking about maintenance and stuff. Yeah, it was just a concern because they, right now other than sitting there with a regular garden hose, trying to wash out salt stuff, from all the creases and crevices. That's all they have for an option right now, so they're doing the best that they can. Whereas if they had, this heated pressure washer with a lot more pressure, they can get it cleaner. They can get into the crevices a little bit better and get the equipment cleaned up. We'll see more life out of the equipment is what's gonna end up happening. I think it's a valid purchase. It's too bad we can't think a year ahead and know that we were gonna buy it to put it in the budget, but I think we're gonna have to do something to get it and then move some other, maybe we have to sacrifice a little bit on something else.
That's me too. That's where I just want to start trying to shift that mindset of let's, empower and educate the employees as well that, okay, this is a need, but what is your budget? Have that documentation right with these screenshots to know this is the impact. Cause I support cleaning the trucks. I'm not arguing that, but I also don't want to be sitting here in October hearing that "Oh, we didn't do this, we didn't do that." Well, this
Right.
is where we start. We start in January. Let's get the documentation in play. Let's understand where it come from. To me, if we could go back between and work with the treasurer and look at a couple different departments and see, talk to recycling, what the support would be from them. And see if there's funds to divvy up.
I'm saying, like, say, someone's making, well, actually, some of it come out of parks,
Yeah,
because they're gonna.
Clean
water
stuff.
Washing the mowers and stuff like that, to clean that stuff up, so that's another. That'd be divvied out between it, but. All right, any more discussion?
I think we need to raise the cost, because if it's 230 volts, we do not have the electricity in the garage that's needed for this. True or false?
There's 230 back where the air compressor is, but I think that's a direct wire. I don't think there's an actual plug-in back
You're
there.
exactly right.
It's a real good
This
point.
is portable, but it's only as portable as far as the cord will stretch. So, I mean, there's definitely gonna be some electrical work and,
As far as the cord goes, as far as the hose goes.
yeah.
so, I mean, the motion is for the purchase. I seconded it, but I would, for discussion, but I'd like to see maybe some more discussion at the staff level and understanding the funding.
That's
Any
my
more-
own concern.
Any more discussion? Call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. All right, animal control contract renewal. Down to it. Come on,
I will, let's see. Let me get there first.
thank you. I'm there now.
Oops.
Was there any contract changes from previous years?
Pam, are there any changes to this contract that we've approved in other years?
It is, the 2-year contract we had with Gratitude Farms, ended December 31st. Tammy has agreed to another 2-year term, so it'd take us through the end of 2025. The only change I made in it, in section 2 on the first page, that used to say towns designated animal control authority, but in order to make it consistent with our town code, I changed it to animal control officer. It's the only change. Otherwise, the terms are the same. She did provide her license and will be getting a report because part of the contract says that there has to be periodic reports, and I know the board likes to hear at least once a year. So she will be providing a report of how many animals she's picked up and how many were
Do you know how
quarantined.
often she patrols Linwood? How often she comes out here? Cause I noticed there's something here that said that she's supposed to patrol the township.
only on calls. So it's if the sheriff's department or the town hall calls, will she actually go to a specific address? She doesn't just drive the township looking for animals, but it would be,
Wait a minute. Let me go back in here and find this here, just so I can. Under 3, contractor agrees to patrol the public streets of the town in a vehicle designated for transportation of animals in accordance with the schedule agreed to by both parties. The contractor shall provide service in accordance with the contractor proposal, which is attached here to Exhibit A, yada, yada, yada. It's 3A. Now that tells me right there she's supposed to be patrolling the township.
the township hasn't asked her to do that. So if it's patrolled on the schedule, basically it's on calls. If we have an animal at large, then she would. So yeah, I agree with you. In accordance with the agreed schedule, but at this point, the board hasn't asked her just to drive around
Okay, so I wasn't crazy.
to call out on it. That would be in the board's authority, but then I think you might end up renegotiating the fees.
Why do we negotiate the fee? It's right in our contract. Understand that.
She hasn't, is the fee still $200? I'm
Yes, it
sorry.
is. It got reduced from 250
It's
to 200.
How many years ago? 3?
3.
So she hasn't had a raise in 3 years, so I don't.
I'll entertain a motion to sign the agreement.
I'll make a motion to sign the agreement for animal control officer Tammy, Gratitude Farms.
Got a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Has been moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right?
Opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda. We have a chance to read through them.
I think the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have upcoming meetings. We're gonna do the wage compensation handbook meeting on Thursday, January 11th at 6 o'clock. The local government officials meeting is Tuesday, January 30th. That did change. I won't be able to attend that now because I'll be out of town. But that is Thursday, January 30th at Bunker Hills. Excuse me, Tuesday, January 30th at Bunker Hills. Then long range for your schedule, we have a joint meeting, town board and planning and zoning, countrywide housing study and local housing aid will be Tuesday, February 20th at 7 o'clock. Is that here?
It is, that is something that's added to it. Susan and I went and heard the presentation, and it's about the county housing study, and they also wanted to make the presentation to the town board. At first, I had scheduled it during a town board meeting, but there's too much information there, so it's actually been, now it's scheduled during a planning and zoning meeting. So it will be during the planning and zoning meeting. Someone from the county, Karen Skepper, will be coming to talk about the housing, what housing is happening, what's happening to housing in Anoka County, and then also talks about the local housing aid that's out there and state aid for housing. So I think it would be very beneficial for the board to attend that, so you can hear the information and ask all your questions at one time. It may help give some direction to planning and zoning as well, when they're talking about developments and also when they start talking about businesses. So I do have Karen scheduled to come during that planning and zoning meeting, so that's why it's on here that it would be a joint meeting. I will post for it as a joint meeting, and if a quorum of the board shows up, then we will treat it as a joint meeting.
Will
Good.
this also talk about senior housing and multiple level housing or?
That topic did come up. It was very interesting to hear the other cities and how they've dealt with that. So yes, that will be the chance to ask those questions about
And this
that.
will be also open to the public, right?
It is, absolutely.
All right. Comments, supervisors, Carol? John?
I have nothing.
Up?
After dealing with all the BS with this, being an, alternate for the Sunrise, I withdraw me being an alternate for the Sunrise. I did it all online. 3 days later, I got another letter in the mail. They want to know my financial report, my taxes from 2023. So I withdraw, smiling from being an alternate to the Sunrise.
Andy,
Sir.
Terrible.
treasurer.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
Pam?
The treasurer has been buried. If you can even see her head above her monitors, it's a surprise. But she's working through it. She will survive. She will survive. I would like to ask the board, so I'm in the middle of all kinds of public notices with elections and the annual meeting. I want to get that settled and get that out there. I have to publish it, post it, all that kind of stuff. So a couple questions for the board. In, our notice from last year, it says that the meeting will be streamed via YouTube. And then the link for the meeting will be available on the homepage on the website. Is that still the board's intention that you would stream the annual meeting?
Yeah.
I'd probably say yes.
So the link, so we're talking live streaming. Right now,
As the town board meetings, yeah.
right, okay. Yeah, that would be my understanding.
Okay, I just don't want to put it in the ad
Yeah.
if that's not the
Yep.
intention to do it. And then last year we had Natalie come in to help set up because we also set up in the senior center. We had technology set up in there, so if this got too crowded or people
Mhm.
were more comfortable in there, if, and haven't talked to her, but would that be the board's intention that that would be set up there as well?
I can tell you for sure that last year, not one person was in the senior center.
Unfortunately, we don't know. You know, it's kind of a roll of the dice of how many people are gonna get here. I know we had plenty of seating in here, but I would think that we may need to do that just to be on the safe side personally. Because we don't know if all of a sudden we get slam dunked or something goes on in the next couple of months and everybody and their brother shows up. I think we have to provide for those people. So I would personally, I'd say yes, we would probably need her to be here to do that and set us up for that.
Staff can do it as well. I mean, if she's not available, but it was nice to just have her take care of that part of it.
If she can do it.
Set up, take down.
If she could do it, probably be a good thing.
Okay.
I will talk to
If
her.
she's available, I'll put a big
What
if up there.
provisions are over there then? Just to stream?
The screen, yeah,
Okay.
yep. If they want to talk, they still had to come over here to
That's
the
what I was
microphone.
wondering, so it's.
Or
more
we
just-
can take a microphone over there. We've offered that as well.
So the YouTube can be on over there. Is-
Correct,
okay.
yeah, yep. So there's a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I guess the question is, and maybe I should have talked with you about this, but where are we going with this? Do we want people involved? I will do as much advertising as I can for the budget meetings to try to get the public here for the budget meetings, because that's when the work is really done, not at the annual meeting. But do we, usually we let the public know either through a newsletter or the postcards about the annual meeting. Is there any thoughts about if we're gonna put out a newsletter? Because again, that would have to be out in February. So we got a short time frame. Or if I'm gonna do the postcards just for the annual meeting, then I need to get cooking on that too.
Do we have enough information to fill a newsletter to send out? One question I have.
That's really short.
Yeah.
Didn't have much time.
We don't have.
That's not a whole lot of
enough-
time to get it on, so
We don't have enough time.
I'd probably say we go with the postcards and
That was the easiest way.
That's what I'm looking for
Yeah.
is how do we want to
Well,
get
can we
this
do
out
the-
with people?
Cause I've seen it in there. Could we do the postcard? And put a QR on there? So you can send that out early enough. Natalie can get that out. But then that QR goes to the website and then we're just updating that website page with the information. You're not trying to get all the information because we're gonna be meeting until the end of February. But then as long as we're, to your point, getting information and providing it to people, that postcard's on, sitting on your fridge, you just go to that site and it's always gonna be updated with the new budget meeting information and.
You
and
give
can
that
share-
postcard a whole lot more value, I think, than the people of Linwood, but
I give the people in Linwood a whole lot of value to know what's going on. So we can, like I said, that's the cheaper than putting a whole, like you said, getting a news card, a letter together is probably,
You know, they could just look
Taxing.
at the website,
So-
and we could update the website often and not do the postcard.
Well, I kind of like the postcard
Yeah.
because I know people that take that postcard, it's kind of like a save the date for the wedding. They take that postcard, they stick it on their refrigerator so they remember it.
I
mean,
think we've gotten a better attendance with the postcard than actually the newsletter.
Yeah.
Now, remember, the newsletter still has to go out because we have to put the
recycling,
agreement
yep.
with Anoka County for recycling is we have to do 2 mailings a year that involve that. So there
But it
still will
doesn't
have to be some,
before that.
correct. Okay,
But that QR, to your point, could direct them to the website and get them what they need. So that flows traffic that way. So I think that,
they'd at least be able to get the
Yep.
information on the budget.
and then let's see, what is this one? So the enforcement property, actually, I need to stop calling it that. The new home, the home that's been renovated on 240th and Purdue, they are offering to do an open house for township and staff to go in and see the house now that it's been totally renovated. It's going to be going on the market or is on the market, but the investor that I've been working with on that has invited the staff and supervisors. So he's kind of looking for some dates or times at the end of January. Is there interest from the board in going, or is there, okay.
One anyway.
Yeah, so again, I can't imagine it would take very long, but, I don't have the calendars now, but kind of was thinking if Thursdays work better. It's up to you, because again, he will pretty much accommodate whatever works with your schedules.
Thursday always works good for me.
Maybe the 30th, 31st or the 1st, because I'll be at Lake of the Woods.
What is that? That's like a Monday or
That's
Tuesday?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so.
Okay,
Um, pretty much any other day, last couple weeks of them. Of the month are fine, except for those 3 days.
and you're, I guess, high level, you're looking, because you'd have to post this if we're all going to be
if there's gonna be more than 3.
more than 3 there. So yeah, I can catch his open house when he has his regularly scheduled one.
Okay,
And not worry.
again, I would think that you would be interested because
very
you saw the
interested.
before. So,
Thought to maybe just John.
Well, when are you available? I mean,
Well,
if it's just 2 of us.
my
we could do-
Thursday is this week, so
well, I guess
I don't have a Thursday.
are you
engagement.
interested in it or, okay, Mike? Do a walkthrough or no?
Well, if he's not gonna be there, then John, I can go through it, I guess, because we'll be together, but like I say, just,
Look at
if those,
Yeah.
those two guys' schedule works better, I'll go through when it's an open house, so it's kind of like that, but.
And it might be sold right away and they won't even have an open house.
They have an open house.
I'm fine. We'll do what you
Okay.
gotta do. and If it works out, it works out.
Okay,
I'm just glad it's done.
yeah, yeah.
It's nice over there now. They did a really nice job.
Um, I don't know if you have it. If you keep scrolling down in your packet, you may have it. I think it's in there. But a little more detail. There is an invitation that came to staff and to the board. Columbus City Council invites you to City Administrator Elizabeth Mersko's appreciation celebration. She is retiring after 23 years in Columbus. That is this Thursday, January 11th from 3 to 6 PM. It's just an open house. If you would like to go and extend your wishes for her. Everything is changing so much. People are retiring and moving on to things, but I wanted to share that with you if you're interested. John Elizabeth is the one that does the minutes for Sunrise Watershed.
Oh,
That Elizabeth.
yeah, she hasn't done those for a while.
Oh, hasn't she?
This is Cal.
I don't go. Okay.
Okay.
And then the last thing I have is a card that came from Rum River Consultants. I just would like to read it to you. It says, "We are thankful for you. We appreciate the opportunity to work with Linwood Township, its residents, businesses, and contractors. We look forward to another year of partnership and shared accomplishments. In your honor, this holiday season, we have again donated money to the North Anoka County Emergency Food Shelf to continue to support our neighbors and community. Many blessings and joy in the new year from the Rum River Consultants team." So
Anything else?
that's it. Thank you.
Hearing nothing else. Board have anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Then moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.